I don't know who's on the call at this specific moment or what you do for work, whether you're an owner in the service industry or you are an employee. But the way this is going to work is we're going to start. I'm going to go over the CARES Act, what I know about it. My name is Melissa Collins. I am a small business owner. We own 15 child care centers in the state of Connecticut. And so I have to tell you that I don't have great news about the CARES Act, but I'm going to go over what I know about it and what I know that's out there for grants for gig workers and small business owners and solopreneurs. Then I'm going to let Brandon Hayes talk about what's going on in his industry and some opportunities he has available. And then we're going to hear from, everyone's dying to hear from Rayanne from the Department of Labor about unemployment frequently asked questions. And I know that there's 5 million questions for her. I have about 6 million myself. So we employ 200 people in the state of Connecticut. So we're a little concerned that they're going to be getting their paychecks and be getting what they need. But the CARES Act, so there's 2 parts of it as far as the loans. Oh, well, here's what I wanted to tell you, and this is the scary part about it. I spoke to 2 presidents of banks and 2 VPs in banking, a couple of loan officers, and not one of them would agree to come on this call, and that should scare you. Here's why. Because they literally don't have the answers. And so they don't want to get in front of a group of people because they know that what they're saying is so ridiculous. And it's sad. So anyway, I'm going to tell you what I do know from being a small business owner and applying for some of these grants and loans that are out there. There are 2 that come with the CARES Act, the Economic Industry Disaster Loan and the Paycheck Protection Loan. The Economic Industry Disaster Loan is up to $2 million of working capital. You go to sba.gov/disaster. Oh, I should also tell you that if you're watching this, you don't need to take notes. There's probably going to be a lot of sites spit out at you. I am going to compile everything in one email and send it out after, so you have all access to all the links. So don't feel like if you're missing something, don't freak out. So Economic Injury Disaster Loans, EIDL, up to $2 million of working capital. Again, you go to sba.gov/disaster. Those loans are supposed to be at 3.75%, 30-year term, and you can defer for up to a year. They're saying that if you apply for the EIDL loan, you can automatically apply for a $10,000 grant for working capital, which we did, and there is a little button to click. So I suppose make sure you click it. What they're saying on the SBA website and all over the news is that within 3 days, as long as you apply for that loan, you will automatically get the $10,000 grant, and then it will be taken off at the loan at the end. And it doesn't even matter if you get approved for the loan, you still get the $10,000 grant. I am here to tell you that that is not true. Well, if it's true, it has not come true because we applied, and 3 days later, there was no magical $10,000. So I'm very frustrated. I'm just going to be honest with you. So that's what the SBA is saying, but from personal experience, I can tell you it's not happening. The PPP loans are up to $10 million. And you, again, apply through an SBA certified lender. One of the biggest problems that I think the SBA, from my talks with them, is that they don't have enough lenders, and the lenders are saying they don't have enough money because they haven't gotten the money yet. So you can go apply, and I would encourage you to. We have as a small business. However, I don't have a lot of hope to share that that money is coming anytime quickly. The problem with the PPP loan, as I see it, I think most people on here, a lot of people on here are listening to this, are in the restaurant industry or the direct service industry. I know I have a lot of daycare owners that have asked for this recording. And in those industries, we can't keep paying our staff with no cash flow because that's how the world works. I think we all on here understand that. And so we can't just keep paying payroll with no knowledge of when that PPP loan is coming. And the only way that it seems that you're going to be forgiven is if you keep your payroll at the same level. So just make sure that you look into that if you do that loan. And again, we applied for it as well because I feel like everything is very unknown. So we just literally applied to everything. The portion that's not forgiven of that loan, supposedly the interest rate is 1%. I also wanted to make sure that if there's small businesses on here that are solopreneurs, so you own your own business, maybe you own, like, I got a friend that owns a Rita's ice cream. Has anyone ever had Rita's? It's not ice cream, it's like shaved ice. So good. Could use one right now. But she's in Colorado, so I can't get it from her. But there's a small business relief initiative through GoFundMe that is a great program. So basically what they're doing is they're saying if you raise $500 on a GoFundMe account, they will match it. So if you have customers that you can reach out to, that's another really great, I think it's a great opportunity. I mean, we're at this point, I think we have to take every opportunity that's out there. I'm just looking up one more. There was $1,000, I need to find it for you. There was one more grant, Freelancers Relief Fund for people that are freelancers. So again, I don't know everybody who's watching this, but I know that there are a lot of gig workers and freelancers out there. If you go to freelancersunion.org, you can apply for a $1,000 relief fund. There's a lot of grants out there like that right now. And what I want to say to my other entrepreneurs watching this, whether you need to hear this or not, I have never in my entire life taken a handout from anybody. I have never in my entire life asked for a loan to be forgiven, and I have never in my entire life applied for unemployment. However, we're in very different times, and their businesses are not going to survive. Small businesses will not survive this much longer without help. So I don't think there's any shame in taking help. And I think that there's a lot of outstretched hands out there, and I would encourage you to reach out and take them, because we need you when this is over. We need our restaurants to reopen. We need our daycares to reopen. We need our industry to start again. And I don't think there's anything wrong with asking for help about that. Yeah, so all I can tell you about the CARES Act is my best advice is apply and hope for the best. And I know that that's terrible advice and nobody wants to hear that. But what we're hearing from our banks, our lenders, major lenders, and I have a lot of friends in the real estate industry that deal closely with mortgage brokers, is that they literally don't have a mechanism for it yet. And that's what's the holdup. They can't figure out how to facilitate the funds. So that's a little bit of a problem. You know, when government, it's frustrating as a small business owner, as you can imagine, because the general public thinks that we've been given millions of dollars and we're just, I don't know what we're doing out here having a party with it and choosing not to pay our staff, but that's not in reality what's happening. I know a lot of small business owners in my network, and I talk to all of them frequently, and I've not met anybody who has gotten any kind of relief yet. And in fairness, it's not been that long. It feels like an entire lifetime, I know for sure, because the past 3 weeks has felt like about a year for me too, but it's not. And for the government to figure out how to disperse $2 trillion in 3 weeks is, I mean, that's like me who doesn't ever get off my couch to exercise trying to climb Mount Everest tomorrow. It's like, it's hard. So I think we should give them some grace. And I say give them some grace. I'm going to introduce Brandon Hayes, but I want us all to remember to give him some grace when Rayanne talks. She is not in charge of delivering the check. So we are not going to murder Rayanne on this call. Nobody is yelling at Rayanne. It's not her fault. If she could cut the check, I know her well, and I know for sure she would send it to you immediately. She's here to just answer some of the questions everybody's been asking, and hopefully get some clarity. But before we do that, Brandon Hayes, who is the CEO of Life Activated Brands, agreed to come and talk about what's going on in his industry. And so I wanted to sandwich this. I kind of have bad news, so I figured I'd deliver that first. I feel like I didn't give you great news. I feel like Brandon has a message of hope, and I'm hoping that Rayanne has a little bit of message of hope at the end of this. So we'll move past that crummy news I just gave y'all. So Brandon, can you tell us a little bit about yourself and about your industry and how you're helping people?
Yeah, absolutely. Can you hear me okay? Okay, awesome. So, well, thank you for sharing that. And man, thanks for putting this together. There's not a whole lot of people that are composed enough right now in this really crazy, scary, iffy, questionable, uncertain time. There's not a lot of people that are really super composed right now. And You are, and you're constantly, from what I've witnessed, watching you in the short time that we've known each other, it's just been fun to see that you're always composed and you're always stepping up as a leader, and so appreciate you putting all this together. And despite how good or bad your particular section and your news was, um, I think one thing I'd like to just echo that you said is that, hey, there ain't no shame in our game. Like, I've been an entrepreneur my entire career and my entire adult life, and I'm the same way. I've never taken a quote unquote handout. I've bootstrapped everything I've done. I've pulled myself up out of mediocrity into financial success. And at the same time, this is a very, very different, unique situation that we're in right now. And there's no shame in applying for some of these things, and doing your best to make sure that your business, if possible, survives this. And so I would just like to echo that, and I appreciate you saying that. And I'm definitely excited to hear from Rayanne too. So I'm gonna keep my portion kind of brief, and I'll just share with you a little bit, kind of what I do, and a little bit of my background. So I've been in the industry or the profession of network marketing basically my entire adult life. I got started in the sales side of network marketing when I was 18 years old, and started to earn some money. And it was a part-time gig. It was a side hustle before side hustles were cool. And it was before the gig economy existed and everybody was driving for Uber and Lyft. We're talking back in the day when people were still using fax machines. And so I was doing this kind of as a side gig, just to earn some additional income, a few $100 a month, maybe even a few $1,000 a month if I was really willing to hustle. And I started to see that, the home-based business, which is all network marketing is. Network marketing it's pretty self-explanatory. For those of you guys that don't know what it is, it's all we do. It's the same thing every other business does. Is we just build a network of consumers, and we get to share in revenue or share in the profits, with the company. And that's the difference, is that in a traditional setting like a franchise or some sort of other small business, traditionally, if you refer somebody to that business, you don't get paid a commission. The only difference here is you do get paid a commission. So what's really happened, especially, and I've watched this industry over the last couple of decades now, and what I've seen happen is a major transition in a positive way that has allowed the average person to be able to get started way easier than I could when, it's just a lot easier today because of the advent of things like technology, the smartphone, social media. We didn't have some of these advantages back when I was getting started. So now it's just a lot easier to connect with people and to share things with people. And we do it anyway. Especially right now while everybody's social distancing, everybody's sitting at home scrolling on Facebook and Instagram and whatever your social media of choice is. You're scrolling and just talking and communicating with people and interacting with people on social media. And so things have just transitioned in a very positive way for network marketing. And it's made things a lot simpler, a lot easier for somebody to, if they choose to monetize what they're already doing. And so I want to share a story with you and relate it to what we're going through right now. And hopefully this will make sense to you. I think Melissa asked me to come on here, and this is my goal, maybe, is to just share with you a potential vehicle and show you what's possible. And I think that's maybe why she asked me to come on here. So in 2008, you guys probably remember, we had a major economic downturn, and we had this housing market crash, this crisis that happened. And, there's some people that would argue that it was manufactured and or whatever, but I'm not here to argue any kind of theories on how it all went down. But what we do know is that the economy crashed, and it was devastating to a lot of people. And, people lost their homes, people lost their incomes, some people lost a portion of their income. They lost their ability to perform because their job or industry went away or whatever. So we saw a lot of really devastating things happen in our economy. And so everybody remembers that era. So if you can remember that era, picture me. I'm this, I'm in my early 20s at the time, and I had just joined a network marketing company. And I start building a side business, a business from home. I had my little side gig going and my side hustle going. And in 2000, after this economic downturn in 2009, 10, and 11, what we saw in the industry of network marketing was nothing short of epic. It was an absolute explosion in a good way. It was an absolute explosion in the industry of network marketing to epic proportions. It was absolutely unbelievable what we saw happen in especially particularly in the years 2009, 10, and 11. So the industry as a whole was growing, and the company that I was a part of was growing. Most companies were growing that were network marketing companies, while all these other businesses were getting shut down. You got to think about this. While all these other businesses were getting shut down, people were losing their jobs, losing their car, losing their house, losing their income. There were people absolutely killing it, crushing it in network marketing. I was one of them. I was able to get that business from 0 to 6 figures in about 18 months as a 20-something-year-old kid. And I had, and it wasn't like I was doing it full time. I had a full-time job and then 2 part-time jobs. And I was doing this little side gig, this little network marketing deal on the side. And I got it to 6 figures in about 18 months. And so, I didn't think about this at the time, but now as I reflect back on it, I realized that part of the reason why that was is because of the timing of the economy. And I didn't realize this at the time, but I started thinking about, so I'm going to relate it to what we're going through right now. I started realizing, you know what? People in 2009, 10, and 11, people were more open-minded. They began to say, you know what? My job or the business that I own is not as secure as I thought it was. And because people were losing jobs left and right, unemployment was going up, they were losing their incomes, right? So they began to realize, I need to start thinking outside the box. I need to start thinking a little differently because my back's against the wall and I got to figure this out. And so some people just went into a mass hysteria of fear. And then some people said, network marketing is the solution. And what I saw in 2009, 10, and 11 was this massive influx of people into the network marketing profession, building a business. They came in to build a business, right? And these people, prior to 2008, prior to this economic downturn, would never have been even open-minded. They would never have wanted to join a network marketing business. They were comfortable. They were out here living their best life, man. They were making money. They had the house and the dog and the 2.5 kids and the white picket fence, and they were happy. And then all of a sudden, all that was disturbed. That peace and balance in their life was disturbed. And so now all of a sudden, they're open-minded. They join network marketing. They start killing it, building a business, succeeding. And that's what we saw. So here's why I bring up that story. Because every expert that I'm talking to right now, and I'm talking to experts in every economic sector out there, including the housing market as well. I'm talking to politicians. I'm talking to bankers. All of these folks, their prediction, like I haven't talked to a single person that said, yeah, everything's going to be okay. Like nobody is telling me that this, everybody agrees this is going to negatively impact. It already is, obviously, negatively impact the economy. And we're going to see arguably the biggest economic downturn that we've ever seen in the history of our country. And everybody agrees with that. All the experts are saying this is going to be 10 times worse than what we experienced in 2008. Because it started international, first of all. It was a worldwide pandemic from the beginning. It wasn't just localized to the U.S. with the banking industry or the housing industry. It was international from the beginning. Also, it's not just a financial issue. It's a health issue, which, as you all know, opens up all kinds of other Pandora's box of trivial problems, right? So everybody agrees this is going to be 10 times worse, economically speaking, than what we experienced in 2008. So here's my prediction as the expert here on this panel, talking to you about really the only thing that I know about and I'm an expert in, which is home-based businesses, network marketing. We've been doing this my entire career. I've been able to help tons and tons of people all over the world in multiple countries, multiple cultures, develop a side income, an additional stream of income through what we do with network marketing, through building networks of consumers and marketing products or services to those people. So I've been able to teach and train people because it's so simple to teach and train people how to do this stuff. I've been able to help people earn, an extra $500, an extra couple of grand, been able to help people earn 6 figures, been able to help people earn 7 figures and everything in between. So I've been doing this for a long time. So as an expert in this particular field of network marketing, my prediction is that what we are about to see is 10 times bigger than what I experienced in 2009, 10, and 11. Okay. So 2008, boom, housing market crash. Everybody's freaking out and the world is going, in hysteria. They're losing their jobs, cars, houses, incomes, everything. And then all of a sudden, 2009, 10, and 11, the network marketing profession explodes and we start seeing people earning a ton of money and bouncing back, having a breakthrough with their income because of this industry. And I was one of them. I personally experienced it. So I believe as an expert in this particular field, I believe that what we're about to see, because the experts are saying this is going to be 10 times worse than 2008 economically. It's going to be 10 times more devastating. So I believe that as a reciprocal sort of component of that, we're also going to see 10 times the explosion and success stories in network marketing. And I believe that that's what's going to happen. I believe we can look at the past and we can deduce something very logical it's just logical that that's what's going to happen. Okay. This is not a stretch. And here's why, because to put it simply and to sum this up and wrap it up real quick, to put it real simply, when the economy goes down, network marketing goes up. Home-based businesses go up. Why? Because people are looking for another stream of income. They're looking for a solution. They're looking for a vehicle that can help them get from where they are to where they want to be. And they see network marketing as the lowest barrier to entry. So you don't have to put up $1 million to start a McDonald's. And even if you did, hopefully you didn't do that like last week, because now nobody can go to McDonald's, right? So you don't have to put up a bunch of money to start a franchise or a bunch of money to start a small business. In network marketing, you're able to get in for a very low barrier to entry. Pretty much anybody can get started. And so what we're going to see a flood of people coming into network marketing. And, my advice to anybody, I'm not a tax professional. I'm not an accountant. I'm not, I don't have, any kind of special letters behind my name. I'm just an entrepreneur through and through. And I always advise everybody, even if you're not building it, to have a home-based business just for the tax advantages alone. That's another topic for another day, but it's just smart to have a network marketing vehicle in your portfolio. And any tax professional that understands that, at the very least, would tell you that. And the ones that understand network marketing, they would tell you that. So I advise everybody to get started in some sort of network marketing vehicle and this is any time, regardless of what the economy is doing. But right now, listen, I believe we're about to see the largest influx that we've ever seen before. And so there's never been a better time in the history of our economy to start a home-based business, to start a network marketing business. And so that's my opinion. Obviously, I'm a little biased because this is all I know, and this is what I've been doing my entire life. But I truly believe that. And, I know people's minds are more open right now. They're more receptive because their balance has been shaken. People have been knocked off course and they're like, okay, I need to start thinking outside this box that I lived in before. Things are different. The world is different. It's changed. And so, my advice would be get involved in a network marketing business. Obviously, we have a great one. I'm the president and CEO of a great network marketing company. So I'm biased and I think you should join our business. And that's my selfless plug. I don't know if I'm allowed to do that or not, but I just did. So, but here's the deal. Whether you join our company or not, get started in a network marketing business, because it's the best possible way that I know of. And I've been studying success my entire life. It's the best possible way that I know for someone to create an additional stream of income quickly with it's high speed, low drag, meaning there's low barrier to entry, and pretty much anybody can get started and start working, towards building some income. And I highly advise, outside of the normal stuff that I tell people, outside of the tax advantages and all that stuff, right now, I highly advise people to get involved in a network marketing business and start generating some additional income. And you might love your job, you might love what your business. If you own a business, you might love those things, and you might keep doing those, and you might be able to bounce back and recuperate from this, and you might keep doing those things. But it's smart to have additional streams of income, so that when things like this inevitably happen, because after recession comes opportunity, and after opportunity comes recession. That's called the way it is. That's called economics, and to think otherwise is naive. So it's smart to have multiple streams of income, even if you love what you do and you want to keep doing that after this is all over with. Wouldn't it be great to go out over the next few months and build an additional stream of income that can keep coming to you, even if you choose to go back to your previous career? So, that's really all I have to say. I wanted to paint that picture from, what happened in 2008, 9, 10, 11, what I believe is about to happen. And my advice, my admonishment is to simply get involved in a network marketing company, get involved in this industry and start building some additional, residual income. You don't need a job. You don't need a paycheck. You need income. You need money coming into your household. And there is a difference. And I know they didn't teach you this in school. They didn't teach me either. I had to figure it out on my own. But you don't need a job or a paycheck like the government is always trying to convince you that you do. Those things are great. We love having a job. We love having a business. We love having a paycheck. But ultimately, the ultimate goal is you just need income coming in. So network marketing is the fastest, easiest way for the average person to be able to generate some income coming in pretty quickly that I'm aware of. So I'll close it down with that. Let's get to Rayanne, and I'll just pass the torch over to her, Melissa, if that's okay. And
I guess
I don't know if you want to introduce her real quick.
Thank you very much, Brandon. I feel like that was a much more hopeful message that I'm spreading. So thank you for bringing that message.
You got it. Thanks for having me on.
I respect Brandon a whole lot. He's a legend in his industry, so he knows how to do this in a big, big way. And I know that you're going to help a lot of people, Brandon. So thank you for that. All right, Rayanne. We want to know, number one question when I put it out there, what people want to know about unemployment. Can you explain the $600? Is it automatically extra? Can you explain this? Tell us what that $600 is.
So the $600 comes from the federal CARE program, as everybody's aware. So essentially it's going to come with anybody who is on unemployment, including people who were on unemployment prior to this whole COVID fiasco. So anybody who's claiming unemployment right now is going to get the $600 on top of their state unemployment. It's going to come with your state unemployment, even though it's a federally funded program. So at the moment, what the holdup is, I see a lot of people complaining the federal government had really given us big hopes that we were going to get it very quickly. Unfortunately, I don't think they took into account that a lot of our Department of Labor across the United States and the federal Department of Labor is not really set up for a program like that yet, because this has not happened to us before. So we're waiting for the funding from the feds, and then Connecticut's going to disperse the funding. So two parts. Yes, it's on top of your regular unemployment. You can still collect your regular state unemployment, and your state will also be giving you this $600 at the same time. This $600 is retroactive to April 2nd, because the bill was signed at the end of March. It does not go retroactive into March or retroactive into people who have been on unemployment for months. It does go retroactive to April 2nd. So even if you don't get that $600 immediately, when you do get it, that first check is going to be a pretty big check, because all your retroactive pay will be in there as well. And that will be sent to you just like your normal unemployment. So if you have direct deposit, if you have the debit card, if you have a check, whichever way you get it, that's how you're going to get that $600 additional on the weekly basis.
All right, so I know there's people on here that are not from Connecticut, and what I read, and confirm if this is true, is every state has to opt into the CARES program. I believe every state is doing it. I haven't heard of a state that is not doing it, but every state is going to have a different timeline, correct? Based on their state's Department of Labor ability to adjust. Would that be true?
Yeah, so there's some states that actually don't have their own Department of Labor. They are fully under the direction and control of the federal Department of Labor. Generally, we say those states are the most unlucky because they don't have a direct line to a Department of Labor. However, in this situation, since they're federal, since their oversight is federal, theirs will honestly probably kick in a little bit quicker. The rest of the states, it's really going to matter on how fast they can roll it out. Like for example, Connecticut, our Department of Labor, our system, our unemployment system, on both ends, on the tax end and on the disbursement end, the program is 48 years old. They're currently working at a modernization program, but trying to run all these new programs through a 48-year-old program is kind of what the holdup is at the moment. So I'm assuming the other states, there are probably other states with more updated programs. I know Utah is one of those states. They have one of the best Department of Labors in the entire country. They might be a little bit faster. But what we're looking at here, what we're being told at the Department of Labor on a state level, at least in Connecticut, is to advise people that they're looking at like 4 to 6 weeks before that first check comes in.
4 to 6 weeks before the $600 comes in.
Yeah, before that $600 comes in, that would be your first retroactive check as well. So that would be the check that if you've been on unemployment since April 2nd, that check 4 to 6 weeks from now is going to include all of that back pay plus your unemployment for your state.
Wow, that's going to be a big check.
Yeah, I know.
So, and then I guess how many weeks back, I wanted to know, a bunch of my Connecticut friends wanted me to ask you, how many weeks backlogged, if I apply for unemployment today, how many weeks backlogged are you before you're approving?
So what we're being told officially, what's coming down from above is we're telling people that we're 3 to 5 weeks backlogged. However, I think it's more of a case-by-case basis. A lot of the people that I know that are strictly out because of the coronavirus in Connecticut, when you apply for unemployment, you can choose if the coronavirus is the reason you're unemployed. And it seems like some of those people are getting approved faster. Like if you have a return to work date, I know some of those people have already gotten their checks. If there's any ambiguity as to why like you're unemployed or what happened, or if your employer is fighting it, that's obviously going to take longer. But most of the COVID affected people, it's about a 3 to 4 week backlog because we have like 6,000 to 7,000 new claims coming in on a daily basis here, Connecticut.
We're not even getting our normal, I don't know if they know this, but as an employer, I'm not getting that normal paperwork, whether I want to fight something or not. We're not getting that.
Yeah, nobody really, I've heard the same thing. And that on the flip side, I've heard a lot of people not getting pink slips and stuff like that. But I think just for employee wise, just so you guys know, if you do get laid off or if you get furloughed or terminated, you don't need a pink slip to apply for unemployment. If you're an employer who has somebody who was terminated with reason and not related to this COVID, not related to because your business is closed, but somebody who was actually terminated because they did something wrong, so they stole, they did something. This is the time that you would want to reach out to the Department of Labor because that person would still be ineligible if they did something wrong and it was not related to COVID. So as the employer, unfortunately, the Department of Labor usually has the adjudications department sending out letters to you guys saying, so-and-so, so-and-so, so-and-so are applying for unemployment. Here are your hearing dates. Here's what you could say. They're just not doing that now because
we're not getting it.
Yeah, there's so many. And then, I don't know, probably half of my building's like a skeleton crew. Everybody's calling out because everybody's afraid to be here. So I just think they don't have the ability to do that. So if as an employer, if you know that you have somebody that should not meet the parameters of unemployment right now, I would say reach out to the Department of Labor instead of waiting for the typical paperwork that they would send to you.
Okay. So that leads me right into my next question. We've seen a lot in a lot of the groups that we're in, people saying that, oftentimes someone has a unique circumstance and they need to reach out and actually talk to someone at the Department of Labor. That seems to be to me, that it might be easier to like talk to Jesus right now.
It is.
So do you have any advice on what's the best way to get a hold of someone if you have a question, or like are you just on your own, keep pushing the button, like what?
You definitely have a better chance, like a straighter line to God than you do to the unemployment division right now. That's twofold. That's one, because they're just tapped. I mean, those people are working nights and weekends. It's crazy. Two, a couple years ago, we lost federal funding for that division, and 106 people got laid off, and they were all phone support. So now there's no phone support. So the easiest way, if you have a very general question about unemployment, not something about your specific claim or your specific check, but if you just have a generalized question about how to do something, one of the phone numbers you can call is 860-256-3700 or 203-848-3700. Those two numbers are to American Job Centers. Those people will pick up the phone and they can answer generalized questions. If you have something very specific, you have to email the DOL help desk, which it prompts you to do when you're applying for unemployment. Like that first page, at least in Connecticut, you have to attach or email the DOL help page. And they have actually pulled a ton of people starting this week from other units, like mine, who can't do enforcement. We're not doing enforcement right now. And they have other agencies reading those emails and going through them. So they should start to get answered faster than they were before. But what I can tell you is, and this is more for your benefit than ours. I have to stay here all day anyway, but calling is going to do nothing but frustrate you. There's nobody, as ridiculous as this sounds, there's nobody on the phones here that's going to be able to give you an answer on your unemployment, just because they can't even pull people off of processing to sit someone on the phone, because it's just, the volume is amazing.
Yeah. All right. So if anybody has a question for Rayanne, you can put it in the chat, and we can ask her. But I just wanted to reiterate that what I heard from you is to make sure in each state, I believe, they're putting that checkbox for did you get laid off due to COVID-19, and that it's really important you find that checkbox that may help speed up your processing.
Yeah, that and the return to work dates really help, because that leaves no investigation to do into what happened,
And what happens if I put a return to work date of April 20th? Because when I filed, I thought April 20th was the date, but then now it's looking like no one's going back to work till May. Does it automatically get pushed out, or do you have to go back in and do more steps?
So currently, what you're supposed to sign back in and change it. However, people have been having problems doing that. And what I actually had to go upstairs last week to ask somebody the same question, because a lot of people have been calling about that. So that's a good one. What I was told was that the Department of Labor is doing an automatic override. They can tell when a business is working or when a business is not working based off of their reporting, and they're doing automatic overrides for people who have not returned to work. You can also change your return to work date. You can either email in that CT help desk that's right on the Department of Labor's website. You can change it when you do your claim, or what they're saying to do is if your return to work date is say 4/20, and on 4/20 you have not returned to work, just go ahead in and keep filing a claim like normal. It's not gonna kick you out or not let you do it. It's just going to ask you the same questions. And the most important thing that you guys want to know about applying for unemployment is to always put that you are eligible for work. If you're sick with COVID, there's other programs to help you. If you can't work because you have COVID or because you're caring for somebody with COVID, you actually want to look into the federal program. It's the FFCRA is the program. It's the Family First COVID Response Act. And what that does is actually gives people who are sick, which makes them ineligible for unemployment, the right to 80 hours out of work. This is not up to your employer. They cannot deny this. This is a federal law. Up to 80 hours out of work, a maximum of $511 per day based off of what your salary is. I don't make anywhere near that per day. I wish I did, but a max of $511, and that's a max of 80 hours. So everybody out there, if you do get sick and you're not eligible for unemployment, you get denied unemployment, look into the FFCRA. It's a federal program. It's mandatory for any employer that has between 50 and 500 employees, and that gives you $511 benefit for the first 2 weeks. So
as someone who
that's
pays
helpful too.
employees, I would love to know how they're going to force me to pay when I have no money in my bank account.
So the thing, and I wanted to say to other people too, you know, like
Thank
when
you,
you
Chair.
got on and when Brandon got on, you guys were saying, you know, you weren't the types to ever take handouts and et cetera. And that's something that I hear a lot lately. And I just want to touch on that super fast. Being on the unemployment enforcement side, because I don't deal with issuing the checks. I deal with making sure that the employers are paying and classifying people correctly, and not abusing the unemployment. But I just want to reiterate to everybody that's watching this that feels like they're taking a handout of some sort. And like Melissa with you and the grants and stuff like that, you know, it's not a handout. What you guys have to remember is that every employer you've ever worked for has paid into the unemployment fund for you, whether you've taken unemployment or not. That's how it works. A lot of people assume that when you go on unemployment, it's at an additional cost to the employer, but they've already paid a maximum amount of unemployment tax, at least in Connecticut, for you. If you never use that, that gets solvent and gets absorbed into the state and becomes someone else's money. So you don't have to worry about taking a handout. It's money that you've earned and that's been put aside for you. These grants and these stuffs for these small businesses that we've been looking at, there's a pandemic assistance program that we're being trained on right now, which is going to help small businesses pay health insurance costs for their employees when they're not working, and the Department of Labor is working on that. Things like that. Every business, every worker, everyone in the state of Connecticut, take advantage of it because, you know, well, not even the state of Connecticut, everybody in the country, take advantage of all those programs because they're here. That money was paid in for you. That's how it works. That $600, you think that that came from nowhere? That's your taxes, that extra $600. Take advantage of that money. Take advantage of that time because this CARE Act is a big deal and it could really be a game changer for a lot of people. So don't look at it as something that you're taking. You know, you did earn that just before.
Well, thank you so much, Ryan. I appreciate you saying that, and I've been paying into that for a lot of years as an employer. So I appreciate you taking the time to talk to us today. I feel like that was hopeful news too, even though, you know, the whole 4 to 6 weeks thing is a little scary. And I get to now go relay this to my staff. So
Yeah,
it's hard. It's hard when you have lower wage workers, you know, if you're making $13 an hour, you can't wait 4 to 6 weeks. So
no, I honestly don't know how people do it. And that's why, at least in Connecticut, they've started pulling people in on double shifts and weekends to get the process going faster, just because it's, I mean, I honestly don't know how people do it, which is why listening to like you and Brandon talk about side incomes is inspiring. It should be inspiring to a lot of people because there's so much control over that. And unfortunately, everything's just out of control here. And I think we're at a loss too. You know, like we're like, we don't know what to do. And I don't know what to tell people that call every day. And you know, they're upset. They can't feed their family. Yeah. And knowing that all that money is coming in a couple of weeks is good and great, but it's not going to put dinner on the table tonight. So it's tough.
That's right.
It's, you know, it's hard, and it's hard on employers because they feel like bad people, you know.
Well, I think we just need to keep sharing resources. All of our communities, no matter where you are, have resources. I know there's a lot of restaurants that are feeding kids. I know that the SNAP programs are up and running and giving more money. Us specifically, for our staff, I can guarantee you, if my staff doesn't eat, I won't eat. So we will take care of it. That's true. We will take care of them until their money comes. I don't know how, but I guarantee you that no one's starving on my watch. So those 200 Connecticut employees are safe, and they know it. But
one of the things too that I just wanted to mention before we're done here is a lot of people don't know that there's something called the supplemental unemployment program. What that means is if you are working a regular job and your hours have been cut, or you've been furloughed to like for half your week, or they've cut something about your pay, you know, and you're making significantly less than you were before, or if you have a part-time job and they've, you know, even part-time, not just full-time, part-time job cut you down to a day or cut you down to no hours, you still want to apply. Even if you're working and making some income, you can still apply for supplemental unemployment, and that will pay the difference between what you used to make and what you're making now for 26 weeks. So that can be a big difference as well for people who are still at work, but just not getting the hours in that they were before. You know, that's what's going on the unemployment front. And I really hope that they find a way to help the businesses and the little people, you know, the 15, I hope that no one ever considers a $15 hour worker or a minimum wage hour worker less than ever again, because I think that this proves that those are the people who are running everything around here. And, you know, it's terrible. It's scary, but we're over here. We're trying as hard as we can. And if you guys have any questions, one of the best numbers to call if you're in Connecticut is 860-263-6000. We will walk you through as much as we can. We can't help you look at your own unemployment records. There's nobody that can do that on the phone, but we are here. We understand your frustration, and we'll do everything we can do to get you any kind of assistance to make you feel better.
okay, cool. Thank you so much for being here, Rayanne. Thank you, Brandon. I hope this helps. I did record this, so at the end, I'm going to send it to all of you. Feel free to share it with anybody you want. I hope that it helps some people out there, or at least gives some peace. So thank you, and I hope everybody has a fantastic, what day is it? Monday. Fantastic Monday.
Is it Monday?
It is surely Monday.
Gross. That's bad news.
All right. Stay safe out there.
Thanks, guys.